The following podcast is recommended for mature audiences only. The following podcast is recommended for adults only. Maturity is not a requirement.
Hello and welcome to Dear Download, a podcast about Download Festival, music and the industry, and all other aspects related to rock and metal. This episode so it's a slight change from last episode where we were talking all about Linkin Park, who were famously known as being straight edge, no drugs, no alcohol. This episode we're talking a band who did all the drugs and all the alcohol. Guns, that's right. We're talking about Guns N' Roses this episode, the headliner for Download Festival 2026 on a Saturday. I am Adam, and as always, I'm here with Simon. How you doing, my man?
Hello, good day to you, sir.
Good day. So, I want to start us off with a hypothetical question.
Okay.
So, if we were a touring podcast and we were getting 10, 12 gigs a month. Just doing a live version of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Getting paid, $2-3 grand per show. How many drugs and alcohol would you buy with that? Just get shit faced.
If it was in the past, a lot. If obviously
time only flows one way, I'm afraid, Simon.
Then it would be. I'd say a moderate amount of alcohol. That would be it.
Yeah. Yeah.
A moderate amount of alcohol. No drugs, but a moderate amount of alcohol would suffice, I think.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. What about you? With that, what drugs are you doing?
I wouldn't do any drugs. All the alcohol.
I don't think so. I think that we go on tour and you'd become some sort of lunatic. You'd be like sniffing coke halfway through the show and then like trashing the dressing rooms because people aren't meeting whatever weird stuff that you come up with in the backstage area. Our rider would just be the most ridiculous thing ever. An American football helmet filled with cottage cheese and all that sort of crazy shit. I was just about to say,
did you not read the rider? Trash the place. Refuse to go on stage.
Reminds me of that bit in Spinal Tap when he keeps on moaning about the bread's too small for the ham, and then he looks at the olives and he's like, well, there's a little guy in there, and then this one, nothing. It's just like it's such a great mockery of what people were doing at the time, like mocking the most stupid things backstage just because they had the power to, I guess.
Yeah, is that in the first one? I don't remember that.
What? That's like one of the best bits when he's like, you keep folding and then it just breaks like that, and then he's showing him how to make a sandwich and he just can't understand why the bread is so small. It's unbelievable. It's one of my favorite bits of the film. It's only like, I don't know, a minute and a half long, but that's literally one of my favorite bits of the whole film.
Yeah, we only watched it maybe like 8 months ago, and I don't remember that bit. Have you watched the second one?
Standout. No, I haven't seen the second one.
No, I want to.
I will get round to it as well. I'll try and get a physical copy if I can at some point. But I'm not in a rush to watch it. But I will watch it at some point.
Yeah, a physical copy for what? Is there a reason why you'd like to show it on something, or this is a segue?
Just to have it.
This is a segue for you to talk about your new YouTube.
Oh yes, I'd like to show that on my new YouTube channel. You would have thought I would have got that, but it appears I'm not being. My mind's not working today, as you can say. I'm trying to think of words and they're just not coming to me. I think all the power was in my hair, and now I shave my head.
Samson.
It's almost like it's removed brain cells from inside my head. Yes, thank you. I would like to display that on my physical media channel, Simon Says Cinema. Subscribe.
Excellent. I'm going to talk first, and then I'll ask you how you are and what you've been doing after.
You talk
because
first.
you just reminded me of something. I used to be in a skill team, and they used to call me Delilah. He almost spat.
I nearly done a spit
out
take.
of
I
the
took a
nose.
sip of my tea right as he said that.
Yeah,
He does this thing as well when he says stuff. He pauses slightly before he goes on to the next thing. So like, he won't just go, I was on the Skittles team and my name was Delilah. And it will be, I was on Skittles team, my name was Delilah. And it's just like the slight pause you leave after. It always makes like you're doing a live stand-up show and you're saying everything as a joke, which is why I always laugh at you.
Excellent. Yeah, so I used to have a big beard. I can't grow my beard as long as I used to, sort of when I was like 18, 19. At one point, it was probably a good 2 to 3 inches long. And I cut it off one day. I'm picking it. I got a hole in it right now because I still pick it. And I cut it off, and this team decided that and I was slower that day, apparently. So they decided, because of the story in the Bible of Samson and Delilah, where it's Delilah that cuts Samson's hair off, isn't it? And he loses all his power. Yeah. And they got it wrong, and they started calling me Delilah because I cut my beard off and lost my power. Idiots.
That's such a good nickname as well. It's so weird and random. I love it.
Yeah. Story time number 2. I applied for a job today. It was
Yeah.
It's I'm not going to go into too many gory details, but it's another funny thing, I think. I spent yesterday about, I don't know, 6 hours on it. 6 hours on this application form. I started about 4 o'clock, and I was still doing it at midnight, with cooking in between and stuff. So it wasn't that whole time, and it just would not send. It wouldn't go through, and I couldn't figure out why. And so today, like, it closes on Friday. So today, I was like, right, I'm going to send an email and say to him, look, I'm trying to apply. It's telling me there's an error. I don't know what's going on. All the while knowing that I'm going to sound like an idiot unless everybody else is having the same problem. They'll go, the stupid idiot can't even work a website. We're not going to give him a job. So all day yesterday I was trying to do this. All morning I was thinking about it. And about 45 seconds after hitting send on the email, I figured it out. I figured out what the problem was. Why does that always happen?
Damn, because you're not recalled the message quickly.
No, well, no, it was a little while after. It was an email. I don't think I could. I didn't know you could do that with emails.
If it's unread by the other person, you can recall it so they don't see it.
I didn't know that. I don't. Kelly said that it didn't sound too bad anyway. It just sounds like I'm trying to just be keen to apply for it. But...
Yeah, just asking a question because you wanted to apply for the role. I didn't see anything wrong with that. But just for future reference, if they haven't read the email, you can recall it. If they've read it, you recall it, but they still see the copy that they received. So if they hadn't have read it, you might have been able to recall it, and they actually never would have seen it at all. But it has to be unread for that to happen.
Okay, cool.
And obviously, you don't know if the other person's read it or not. So yeah, it's a gamble. I used to do it all the time. At work, I used to send an email like halfway done, like press send, or like I knock my computer or I knock my keyboard, and I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, I have just sent that email, or I've sent it to the wrong person. And you just quick recall really quickly, and sometimes it bounces back, and then you'll like go up to the person, you'll be like, hi, you didn't get an email from me earlier, did you? And they'll be like, what email? And you'll be like, oh my god, thank God. Okay, they didn't open it, but it depends how quick people are with opening their emails, and most people are pretty slow. So yeah,
cool, excellent, yeah, good to know. Anyway, how are you, and what have you been up to the last couple of weeks?
Hello. I'm good. I haven't really been doing much. I also have an interview on Friday, so both me and Adam are seeking new positions, not sexual ones,
hey,
other positions.
You back on the
and then we can be
bitches.
in other positions. Yeah. Apart from that, I have just been going a bit mad physical media wise. I'm literally sitting next to just a giant pile of Blu-rays and DVDs. I mean, it's getting insane now, but that's how I like it. Apart from that,
very nice.
Nothing really. Just chilling. Looking after the boy. He's throwing some tantrums now, which is great. So the terrible twos are coming nice and early for us. He's freaking out, gets told no, starts crying, does that thing where he cries and then he stops breathing for a bit, where he's like, eh! And then he's literally going blue. He's literally I'm like, breathe, and then he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're at that stage and we're having trouble. We're not sleeping much at the moment. We're both kind of just in and out, and Vicky's in there in the middle of the night, and he's kind of regressing sleep-wise a little bit, but I've heard that can happen. So fingers crossed he gets a bit better. So yeah, we're all just a bit tired in this house at the moment. That apart from that, not really much else is going on.
Yeah. I know that feeling with the crying. Like you hear a bang from the other room, and you're just waiting. Where they're breathing in, getting ready to do the scream, and it's about 10 seconds. You're like, is it coming? Did they hurt themselves? Yeah.
And then wow. Yeah, so it's fun. Like I said, I'm actually really enjoying being a dad. It is great fun. It's hard bloody work, and I never thought it would be something I would ever do, ever. But I'm really glad that we ended up doing it. It's
good,
rewarding, but also very, very frustrating.
Yes,
but good. Yeah,
cool. I haven't really got too much to talk about in this bit, apart from I don't think it was out by the time when we recorded, but my YouTube channel is fully out. The first episode is out. I'm not going to go too much into it now. I spent a lot of time over the last, at the beginning of last week, really, just doing loads and loads of edits and just fine tuning the last little bits to release it. But yeah, I'll talk more about that later on. But yeah, so shall we get into it? I'm sure there was something else I wanted to talk about at this point. Oh, the download announcement. Yeah.
We should probably talk. Well, yeah, we'll put announcement in air quotes, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. What did you think? Were you like on your phone waiting for it to happen, or did you just hear about it after the fact?
I was kind of a little bit busy at the time. I was working, and I did look at it, but then Download only put a video out, and I'm like, I haven't got time to sit and work out who's new from this. So I just put my phone away and waited for somebody to, I think it was Dylan, again, in the Discord, just actually wrote a list of all the new bands in the Discord, which was great. I could just look at it, then I don't have to watch the whole video.
I'll run through them quickly. I got them up here. So,
nice.
Announcements. There's a small announcement, but occasionally you get stuff in these ones that that people love because it's just like a really quick second wave. Although we were saying it was a pretty packed lineup anyway. There wasn't much room on there. So it was A Day to Remember, Doubtry, Creeper, Hot Milk, Marmozets, Froze Mode, Silly Goose, The Primals, Stamping Ground, Bandmaid, Conjurer, Annie's okay. I don't know.
Is she?
Desasus, and Private School. That was the bands that were announced. There's a few
cool,
like decent names in there, like Day to Remember.
Yeah,
I'm sure I've told you on here.
Asking for them.
I got forced to watch them in 2013 by my friend Aston, and I didn't. I don't like them that much, but I didn't really want to watch them. But I'm glad I did because although I'm not a fan of their music, I really enjoyed the live show. It was fantastic. They were really good. Doubtry are great as well. He's great. So that's another good one. Creeper are one of my favourite modern bands. So great. Marmozets as well are a band that I saw quite a few times back in the day before they broke up. Awesome band. So good. Stamping Ground are great. Conjurer are awesome. So there's a few really good bands in there, I think.
Yeah. Marmozets. Kelly made me watch them for the first time. I'd never even listened to any of the music. I want to say like 2022. They were played on the main stage, something like that. And yeah, I thought they were amazing. Still haven't listened to much live. Yeah. Who else do you say? Yeah, Daughtry, one of my favourite bands of all time. But they are very likely going to be clashing with Story of the Year, which is annoying.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
But you never know. You never know. Sometimes the times work out not quite as you think you're going to be. So fingers crossed that that one doesn't happen for you.
Yeah, that's true, actually, yeah. And like I said, A Day to Remember, never been the biggest fan. But yeah, I've seen them live a couple of times, and it was really good. Really enjoyed it. So, also the news is we've got the day splits and everything, and where everyone's going to be. So with these episodes now, we are fully stuck into our countdown to download anyway. But now we've got all that, we can start listening to those as well. And if there's anybody new here, what we always do every year is we'll do an episode per day, and we'll listen to every single band playing, and go up through the lineup for that day, and talk about everyone. So that's coming up.
Yeah.
So we're maybe not going to go into too much detail about it now, because we're going to go into massive detail.
Yeah, we'll cover everything like we always do. We'll cover all the bands. We'll cover the site. We'll cover everything that's going on in long form, basically. So we'll get to all that, but we'll get to the day splits. We'll get to all the stuff. It's all going to get there. So yeah, don't worry about it. Today's all about Guns N' Roses, but we'll get to everything. Don't worry. Yeah,
but you just reminded me actually though that 5-day tickets are sold out.
Yeah,
which is strange. I thought it was just a scaremongering. Because 3-day tickets are still 3-day camping tickets are still available, which I've never heard them do before.
There's a lot of things I've seen that, due to loads of things to do with the airport, the surroundings, all sorts of stuff, that it's a reduced capacity download.
Okay,
that's one of the things I've heard. One of the other things I've heard is that where Blue Campsite will now be an overspill for access camping. Which means there might not be any Blue Camp, which takes a lot of people out, a lot of space out of download. So until we see the map, we haven't got any of these things confirmed. But from all the things I've been hearing and all the information that I've been gathering from specific people, I'm not sure how well compared to other downloads this is sold, or if they've sold out, or if it's a reduced capacity. Or this is just done really well. I mean, from the reaction from everyone, I was under the impression that everyone was kind of happy, but it wasn't like a "this is the best download ever" kind of lineup. So I'm not really sure what to believe at the moment till we have all the facts. But if 5 days have sold out and it's full capacity, fair play. But I know now a lot of people have missed out on those. So I don't know. Something's off there for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to think about that. I mean, the skeptical part of me would say, they've just shut them off to get people to panic buy, and then they will find some more when people haven't paid fully for their installment tickets or something like that.
It's happened
but who
before.
knows?
It's happened before. Tickets have just come out of thin air, and all of a sudden there's more space. So wouldn't be the first time. No,
but saying that, I mean, I think Linkin Park are going to be doing a lot of work for the ticket sales. A lot of people would have wanted to see them on the tours that they've done over here. I think it's sold out instantly, pretty much all their shows, as far as I remember. I could be wrong on that. And so there's going to be a lot of people who wanted to see them. Obviously, Guns N' Roses still. We'll talk all about Guns N' Roses. I can't see Limp Bizkit being a big pull for a lot of people, but I'm not everybody. I'm not most people. I'm not
I think
anybody apart from me. So.
I think Bizkit are a big pull, especially with the kids. It's resonated well with the younger audience. So I think they will. Although it's only been a couple of years since they've been at Download, I just think generally Bizkit are quite a big pull. They are the daddy bands now. So
yeah.
Yeah,
cool. Was there any other news? No, I think that's it. But I think that's all of the bands now, isn't it? There's not going to be any more bands to be announced.
Unless they do a random announcement at some stage, which, again, has been a thing in the past they've just randomly done. It doesn't look like much room on that poster for anyone else.
No. The next announcement we will get will be everything that's happening in District X and the Courtyard stage.
Yeah.
Which is, I think that's kind of taken over from the third announcement. They used to do the bands in three announcements, but because it's such a big thing now, that announcement has taken over.
I tell you what, seeing Scooter put to headline that stage broke me. I don't even want to talk about it. I completely agree.
I don't understand.
Yeah. Old man yells at cloud meme, but
pretty much
it's not that. It's way more than that. But we'll just leave it at that for now. We won't talk. We'll talk about that when we get to it eventually.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We have to listen to it, don't we? God damn.
You don't have to. Right, out of all the bands on there, you have to listen to them. You do not have to listen to Scooter, okay?
Okay. Oh, thank you.
Good. You're welcome. Although it does seem like something that would totally be up your alley, but
I think I have heard a few songs, and some of them might be a little bit nostalgic. My brother had a lot of the Bonkers albums, and I did quite enjoy Bonkers 3, which is happy hardcore. And I would still listen to that today. Which is
I don't think there's
crazy.
anything wrong with Scooter. I just want to say this out now. I don't think there's anything wrong with their music. I don't even think their music's bad. It's totally fine. It's it's cool. I just don't think it belongs on a stage at Download. That's all I'll say about it. I'm not saying anything about the music at all. Enjoy it. I'm sure it's great. And I love stuff that's similar to that. But it's on my rock and metal festival. That's it. That's it.
Yeah,
I like when they do stuff that's weird and stuff, but putting them in amongst it and taking away a stage headliner is, oh Jesus, they're upping it every time. First I was like, oh, they've put them in the actual arena, and then I was like, they've fucking put them headlining a stage. Oh boy. Just wait until I see some of those people from the office at Download. There's going to be some fisticuffs, mate.
Fisticuffs.
If I see Cam, I'm coming out swinging.
Right. No, we want to get accreditation. So let's stop that. That's silly. Let's talk about how amazing Guns N' Roses are going to be. We got some pulling. We got to pull back some of that favor.
Well, there's a lot to talk about with Guns N' Roses, and who knows what kind of live performance we'll get. We'll do that bit at the end, like we normally do, where we talk about what to expect. Because a bit, but just listen. Strap in, boys. Strap in, dudes, because there is this is going to be a roller coaster ride. So just strap yourselves in for this one, because with Guns N' Roses, there's a lot of stuff to cover, and it's all ends of the scale. So
Excellent. Well, I'm ready when you are. So Simon normally says a little bit about the band, a little bit about a little bit of history, I guess. Do you want to start with that?
Yeah, just a little intro.
Little overview, yeah.
A little overview. So overview, then we'll have a general chat and we'll talk about some other stuff. We got some sections to go through for this one. So, Guns N' Roses are an American rock band from Los Angeles. Formed in 1985, the band are one of the biggest selling music acts of all time, selling an estimated 100 million records worldwide. The band gained initial support on the Hollywood club circuit and soon signed with major label Geffen in 1986. They're known for some standout members of the band. Slash, of course, world-renowned guitar player, played on loads of his solo stuff, played with, Mars Kennedy, loads of other people, just done a ton of stuff, and is a well-respected guitar player and good guitar player. And the other sort of standout as well, apart from Duff, who is a great bass player, would be, of course, Axl Rose, the band's frontman, and someone who has gained, I'll say, air quotes, arsehole status within the rock world. I think it's generally thought across the board that if you said name someone from a band who's an arsehole, a lot of people would probably say Axl Rose. The band was also inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2012. I mean, the amount of records they've sold, the tours they've played, we'll get into some of those things before. But this is a very big band to headline Download, and I understand why they're such a huge draw. We'll talk a little bit about them at Download a little bit later. But and they are your Saturday headliners of Download Festival 2026.
Yeah, cool. I want to sort of add on to that. Well, maybe not add, but my opinion on that is I understand how massive Guns N' Roses are and how massive they were. I think that's something that everybody knows, but until actually doing some research for this, I didn't know just how big a deal they were when they were first around. Incredible stuff. What they were doing, lots of it was drugs and alcohol fueled, like we said, but I mean, one of the things I was watching about it, the guy was saying, look, yes, they were doing a lot of stuff, but the songs they were writing, they were just absolute genius, and and you couldn't do that sort of thing on, the Substances. So they had their moments where, well, they had a lot of moments where, they were just writing such incredible songs, incredible albums. So yeah, I understand a little bit more about that history now than I did before this episode.
Nice. That's good. Yeah, I like that. I like that. And hopefully when we're done with this episode, everyone will know a little bit more and be a little bit more interested in watching Guns N' Roses, possibly.
Yeah, cool.
So I think what we're going to do is we're probably going to talk about their music last. We've got a couple of bits to go through which should spark some conversation. I've called this section... So before we start this section, I just want to say, right, we don't know Axl Rose personally, right? He might very well be a dick or he might be a nice fella. However, none of the stories I'm going to tell paint him in a good light or make him out to be anything else than he is commonly known as. Also, these are just some examples of the crazy stuff that's gone on within this band. Their Wikipedia page is like a book because there's just so much stuff in it. Like, you could read their Wikipedia page and click on links for days. I think you could read about this band for about a week with all the shit that's happened. So I've just picked out some things that sort of just stand out to me and things that I remember, and sort of just incidents and things that have happened that have cemented sort of Guns N' Roses within, just what they're known for, basically. But within those stories is, like Adam said, some great songs, some great gigs back in the day, and just loads of positive stuff and bad stuff. This band is like neutraled out because there's so much negative, but there's also so much positive. So we're not going to speak about the band in just a bad light or a good light. It's going to be both. So if you're a huge Guns N' Roses fan and you're listening to this, we're going to talk about how many shitty things have happened, but also how much good music they've made. So it should balance itself out. I just wanted to say that before it starts off on a negative note and then someone's listening and goes, I don't listen to this because they're just going to talk shit about Guns N' Roses the whole episode. That's not what we're going to do here. So just want to get that out of the way.
Cool. Yeah. Good idea. Good point.
Good. So I've called this section Infamous Incidents and Feuds, which is just, just an amazing... when I was writing that, I was like, this episode's going to be fantastic already. So first thing we'll talk about, this is in chronological order, and this links into Download, is we'll talk about Monsters of Rock, 1998. So Guns N' Roses technically have been playing at Donington for quite a long time. So 1988, sorry, I said 1998. 1988 was a great lineup, and you would love this lineup, dude. It was Maiden headlining.
That was some Sun album.
Maiden headlining, Kiss main support, Megadeth, Halloween, and Guns N' Roses. That is an incredible lineup right there. Like, now that would be like legendary status, god tier lineup. So
yeah,
I mean, they were just getting these, for free. We've been to downloads that some people would look up at the sky and beg that they've been to. So I'm sure the guys in the 80s were feeling the same at that point. But this is, if you don't know this, this was in my Monsters of Rock video that I'd done. So I'd done 2 Monsters of Rock videos beginning of last year. No one watched them. So if you want to go check those out on my channel, they're really good, and I worked really hard on research for them, and no one watched them, unfortunately. But it's just the way
I'll
it is.
link it in it. I'll link it in the episode description.
Yeah, link it. So during their performance that year of their song "It's So Easy," 2 fans were crushed to death as the layout and the barriers weren't to the same standard in the 80s that they are now. And sometimes the only way you can learn by that is when tragedies happen. And this is one of the things that happened. So, people have died at Donington. This isn't just one example. Over the years, a lot of people have from various different things. But yeah, unfortunately, 2 fans were crushed to death. This combined with, at the time, like Anna spoke about, pretty much their open drug abuse and alcohol feud policy, where they just done what they wanted, said whatever they wanted in magazines, because the 80s, it was just like the purge of bands where you could just do what you wanted and everyone was doing it. So at the time, they were labelled the most dangerous band in the world after these 2 people were crushed to death. And that makes a lot of sense, because they could influence people to do drugs and alcohol, and people were getting killed at their shows. So technically, you are the most dangerous band in the world at that point. And because of that, there was no Monsters of Rock in 1989, and it didn't return to till 1990 with like a renewed security policy, more safety measures in place, and all that sort of stuff. So those two people's death did actually make Monsters of Rock safer going forward. But yeah, I just thought that was worth noting because it happened, 500 yards from where they're going to play this year. Two people were killed at one of their shows. So I thought it was worth mentioning so people would realise that. Obviously, it's a horrifically somber note and really sad, but it did happen. It is part of the, the Donington history.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, anyway, I'll move on to something less depressing. But again, crowd orientated. So 1991 Missouri riot. So Guns N' Roses were playing the Riverport Amphitheatre in Missouri. Axl noticed that a fan was filming the show with a video camera, probably one of those giant old school ones that you could see from space. After asking security to take the camera, Axl jumped into the crowd and assaulted the man. So smashed the camera, punched him in the face, all sorts of stuff. Chaos happened. Once back on stage, Rose said, well, thanks to this lame-ass security, I'm going home, thrown the microphone onto the ground and stormed off stage. This caused the crowd to riot. Literally go mental.
So I've seen that clip, yeah. I've seen it a couple of times. I didn't realise where it was or how
injuring a ton of people, broken arms, some police officers were hurt as well. And then a year later, charges were filed against Axl Rose for the riot, but the judge ruled that he didn't directly incite the riot. Like, he didn't say riot. He just threw his microphone down and walked off stage. That he didn't say everyone riot. So I understand that. But he was eventually found guilty of assault and property damaged, was fined $50,000 and given 2 years probation for smashing the camera and punching the guy in the face. So something did come of that clip, and it's a famous clip. I've seen it before. Adam's seen it. You can go on YouTube and type it in, and it's on there for you to view. So, like we said, around these times, they were just on everything, man. They were in the sky. They were not of this world. So I could imagine that those early 90s and late 80s performances would have been quite tasty. Because if you listen back, like if you watch the Freddie Mercury concert that they done, man, Guns N' Roses sound amazing on that concert. His voice is... That was 92, so the year after this. His voice is incredible. They done some of their own songs. They done a cover. He sung with Queen. Oh, they were just brilliant. Like, I can understand why at the time people were so hot on this band, because they were bringing out albums everyone loved, and they just sounded really good live, even though they were off their tits. And I'm sure there were shit performances in there, but you could tell when they turned it on, they could put on like a fucking hell, this band's incredible kind of show. Yeah. So, but I'm sure it would have been interesting to be at one of these gigs where it's just like fucking chaos, like what's happening.
Yeah, so I don't know if you're going to go into this in a little bit later. Stop me if you've got any notes at some point. But yeah, up until this point, Axl, he was just a loose cannon, and he would sometimes not show up for gigs. So he'd be showing up 2 hours before the gig. The rest of the band would just be sat there waiting and wondering what version of Axl Rose they were going to get for that show. And he's just insane hearing that. Like, we obviously knew, well, I knew, I can't say we, I knew that he had a bit of a temper issue after sort of the 2006 download. I didn't realise how far back it went, but yeah, it sounds like he always has been like that. But, I mean, some of the greatest frontmen are arrogant, and that's why they're so great, and because of the way they are. So, yeah, it's a difficult line to sort of study, I guess.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
and back in the day, that kind of standout, brash, great singer, good looking that was kind of like the mold for what the singer of a rock band should be. That's changed now. You can kind of look like Phil Collins is a good example of this, right? Phil Collins looks like the bloke from down the pub.
Yeah.
But he's one of the greatest singers and songwriters there ever was, right? But in the 80s, he never would have just joined a band not being famous and got anywhere, because he wasn't the sort of model of what you should be in a rock and roll band. And if you look at that time, if you look at Poison, you look at Motley Crue, you look at all the bands from that kind of era that came from that LA, Hollywood kind of scene, that's what they're all going for, is kind of, we don't give a fuck, we're going to get pissed, do all the drugs, bang all the women, you know, rock and roll, man. Yeah, it's kind of where that kind of really stems from. And he was that and more. So people loved him because of that. But I can imagine being around him and being in the band was probably just... And the other guys were the same. They were all on heroin. They were fucking coked up. They were drugged up. So I'm sure being around any of them wasn't a really good place to be. Like, they were all probably being absolute dicks to each other. And we'll probably never know the full extent of how far that goes.
No, just sort of reminded me, like, bands don't, when we were growing up, sex, drugs and rock and roll was everyone's motto. Anybody who wanted to be a band, that was what, that was the goal. I don't think I've heard anybody say that in at least 20 years.
The world's changed, man. Yeah, sex.
It has, yeah.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll it's a dead thing now. It's not really a thing now. It's passé. It's it's just not. You can still do all those things, but it's not to the same. Doesn't have the same. It has more limits now than it did back then, and people are different. The world's different. People are looked at differently. People can't get away with as much shit as they used to. It's just a different world. It's a different time. It's very of the time. Now you would start and say drug, sex, and rock and roll, and it's just a different place. So it's nice to look back on these. Yeah, it's good. We've evolved. Things change. They move forward, and basically everyone's boring now. So let's move on.
Now we know why Simon got kicked out of his band. He was just trying to get them to do the sex, drugs, and rock and roll thing.
They did not want to do it. They were like, "Nah, bruv, sorry, get out." And moving on, so
turn up to practice. Like, where's the hot tub and why are there no bitches in it? Where's the groupies? God, I haven't heard anybody talk like that about groupies for a long time either. I had all of my groupies. No, I didn't. I didn't have any groupies. Sorry, carry on.
We'll cut him off there, guys, before we get cancelled. Moving on to 1992 VMAs. So I actually remember this from a Kurt Cobain book that I read from their manager's point of view. He wrote a lot of sections for the book, or it was based on the stories that he told. And this was one of the bits that he put in from his perspective when they were at the VMAs. So just after Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love had their baby Frances Bean, Axl said something really horrible in the press about them. He was asked a question about Kurt Cobain, because obviously Nirvana were the big band of the moment. They were kind of taken over, and all the people in the rock world were kind of really afraid of this Seattle grunge sound that was kind of pushing rock out of the charts. He said, quote, "Kurt Cobain is basically a junkie with a junkie wife, and if their baby is deformed, then they'll both go to prison." Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
Yeah, if you said that now, people would just be enraged. But this was just like a passing comment in the early 90s. Obviously not a nice thing to say about... I mean, they were both junkies. That's a fair comment. But you don't start saying stuff about people's baby. That's where you take it too far. Then a few weeks after, both Guns N' Roses and Nirvana played the VMA Awards. So they were both doing sets. Courtney confronted Axl when they were both backstage, sarcastically saying to him, "Do you want to be the godfather to our baby?" And they were just saying, like, he just reacted in like a really shitty way, obviously. Then Axl was having a camera crew following him around in the whole place. I don't know whether they were doing like a backstage segment or they were filming him for some sort of Guns N' Roses thing. But apparently, just after Courtney Love said that, one of the cameramen that was part of the camera crew went up to Cobain and said, "Shut your woman up or I'll throw you to the ground." Then apparently there was a big kerfuffle, people arguing, trying to fight. And then apparently Chris Novoselic, the bassist from Nirvana, and Duff, the bassist from GNR, almost came to blows, literally having a full-blown fight just before Nirvana were going to go on stage to do their set. So this just kind of tells you how, like, it was almost like the Wild West in rock and roll. Like, people just chatting shit about each other in the press. backstage, people fighting, saying shit to each other, saying horrible things, like just the worst people. Like, just they're all either heroin addicts or drug addicts or fueled by alcohol out of their minds, all just arguing and just, yeah. I can imagine being backstage at these places was just like, what is going on here? What is going on?
Yeah, if that still happened these days, there would definitely be a Channel 4 reality show about it.
Yeah. But the thing is, this is the sort of thing people don't say to each other's face now, because they'll just tweet it to each other.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be a tweet, and then someone will be like, "Oh my god, did you see what Axl Rose said about Kurt?" And then like everyone will be arguing online, and it would probably be even more toxic, because then the fandom would be toxic, rather than just two people having an argument, which kind of seems like a more antiquated way to do things. But and I think actually, when I was reading a little bit further about it, I won't go too much into it, but once Kurt Cobain died, I think Axl Rose said that he did actually respect him as a musician and as a songwriter and stuff, and I think he regretted what he said in later years.
Yeah.
But obviously at the time, yeah, like we said, it was like the Wild West, man. People were just saying shit. It didn't really matter. You weren't going to get arrested for it back then, so who gives a shit? Say what you want.
No, just reminded me of I saw a clip of Metallica saying something about Kurt Cobain as well, and it's probably quite a famous clip now, but I didn't see it until about 3-4 years ago. Obviously, this was back in the 80s again, or 90s probably. But yeah, I could not believe he said, like, fucking, what's his name? I can't remember Metallica's singer name.
James Hetfield.
James Hetfield. I could not believe James Hetfield has said that. You know, since I've been into music, he's always just seemed like a cool guy. But yeah, like you said, must have been just what it was like back then. People were just talking shit about each other, probably just trying to get one sort of foot up, sort of a foot up against the other bands.
Yeah, kind of like going viral.
Famous.
Like you'd want to be on the front cover of Kerrang saying, "Oh my god, James Hetfield said this about blah blah blah," and then all the attention's on you. It's kind of like sending a tweet now that you know is going to get you in trouble, but you're going to get all the attention from it. So yeah, kind of like that. But also, I think that genuinely all the people in these metal and rock bands were terrified of Nirvana, basically, because they'd come from nowhere, and all of a sudden it was like, yeah, rock and metal is like dog shit now, so we're not going to listen to it, we can listen to grunge instead. And I think genuinely the whole rock and metal world was turned completely upside down for like 3 or 4 years because of grunge. Right. So yeah, like people were
crazy
it,
times.
Basically. Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Yeah,
I never liked grunge.
Oh, there's tons of good, tons of good grunge bands, but it's not, it's not the most complex or thrilling. But it connected with the kids at the time, exactly like nu metal. People despised nu metal, but it connected with the kids of the time. So if we were born probably, I don't know, 6 or 7, maybe 8 years before, grunge would have been our thing, dude.
Yeah, and probably Britpop as well. That would have sucked. We would have sucked.
Hey, what on earth is wrong with Britpop?
I knew this was coming. I didn't like Britpop.
Yeah, there's some great stuff in there, though, man. Jeez. Okay, I didn't like all of it, but I can name a lot of really great bands that came from Britpop. Come on, man.
Yeah. All right.
We'll leave that there anyway.
Please don't. Please don't. Let's just go back to Guns N' Roses.
All right, we're going back. Anyway, here we go. Okay, same year, 1992. Montreal riots. More riots. So this sounds like a great tour as well. Listen to this. So Guns N' Roses were on a joint headline tour with Metallica. So Guns N' Roses, Metallica, with support from Faith No More, Motorhead, and Body Count. Sign me up. That sounds amazing. Actually, I do remember specifically Mike Patton from Faith No More just saying how terrible it was to tour with Guns N' Roses, and they absolutely hated every single moment of being there, apparently. And apparently Guns N' Roses didn't want to talk to them, didn't want to see them, didn't want to hang out with them, and they kept themselves completely separate from everyone else on the tour. So I think when you're doing a big tour like this, you're supposed to like be buddy-buddy, and it's supposed to be like a big joint thing. Yeah. But from what Mike Patton said, they just had the worst time on this tour. Like playing massive venues, and this is when they just brought out Angel Dust. So, Faith No More weren't necessarily a household name at this point. So for them, it was great to play these huge shows. But yeah, apparently it was just awful the whole time. I think James Hetfield as well has talked about how much he hated touring with Guns N' Roses. I'm sure that's all changed now, but anyway. So during the show at Montreal's Olympic Stadium, this is where James Hetfield suffered second-degree burns after the pyrotechnic malfunction.
Okay.
If anyone doesn't know about that, basically, James Hetfield, had second-degree burns all over his body, stood where a pyro wasn't supposed to go off, but it went off anyway. He was burnt pretty fucking badly as well. He's still got the scars to this day. And basically, they couldn't complete the show. So Guns N' Roses were told to go on early, but they hadn't done all their due diligence for all of their sound and stuff. So apparently, they couldn't hear themselves at all on the stage, and they were just playing really badly. Then Axl Rose was saying how much his throat hurt. So the band left the stage early and then didn't come back on, and this led to another riot where 10 audience members and 3 police officers were injured, had to go to the hospital, and there was like 20 or 30 arrests made. So on more than one occasion has there been a riot once Guns N' Roses have stormed off stage.
I didn't know about any of them.
Yeah, so...
That's crazy.
So, just hope there's not a riot. People don't really... I don't know, there has been riots at Download before, but we're probably better than that now.
Only one, and that was because of Guns N' Roses, if people are unaware.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Wait bait.
Wait bait. Don't worry. That's our next section. We'll talk about Download. And finally, just another random story that I found researching, which I actually didn't know this one. I've called this Buying the Band Name 1997. So Axl Rose reportedly purchased the full rights to the band name. Slash claimed that the band had signed the rights over under duress, as on multiple occasions Axl refused to go on stage during their Use Your Illusion tour unless the band signed the rights over to him for the band. But I'll serve a counter argument here. They did sign it, so he does have the full rights to the band and everything. I think just the name, I'm not sure about the music. Although Rose has denied this, saying it's all bollocks and it's all made up. But it kind of does sound like his sort of behaviour. So
yeah.
I'm not really sure who to believe, because I've actually read Slash's book, and although it was quite good, I do feel like a lot of it was just made up bollocks. So,
okay,
like they've been through a lot of stuff and they've done a lot of crazy stuff. But sometimes you read stuff and you go, "Yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't know." So I don't know who's talking shit here, but he has the rights to the band. No one's clear on how he actually got them.
Yeah. So that was actually in one of the videos that I watched, and it said that he was just pressuring them, saying like he deserves to be like fully responsible for everything, fully owning everything. And they pushed back a little bit to start with, but then his behaviour just got worse and worse. And like you said, it was under duress. They didn't want to do it, but they couldn't carry on the way that he was acting. So it didn't say exactly what happened, like in the recent times before that happened.
Yeah.
It didn't say why they signed over, but it did say that yes, he got it eventually.
He got it
by means.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to act like such a dick that you sign everything Dear Download over to me. That's like the worst thing you can do.
It means you have to do some work.
I don't do work, man.
I can't say that. You have done a fantastic amount of work.
I do different
always,
stuff. Yeah.
But yeah,
I do different. We both do different stuff to make this podcast work. That's all we'll say. We won't go into the details. Anyway, so
yeah,
those are just those are just a few stories. There were a lot more, but we don't have all the time in the world. Like I said, and we'll get to it when we talk about Chinese democracy and some other stuff. There is a hell of a lot to read on this band. So if you're interested, their Wikipedia page, and I didn't get this all from Wikipedia. Some of it I knew, some of it I've come up with or sort of written, but man, their Wikipedia page is a trip to read. So if you ever get a chance, I guarantee you, if you read their Wikipedia page, you won't regret it. It's really good. And it goes off on all sorts of tangents and things you can click on, and oh, fucking hell, it's a whole world. We could do probably 2 or 3 episodes just about Guns N' Roses, so we're cramming it all in.
Yeah. Cool, yeah. What's next then?
So next, let's talk about Let's talk about Download. Let's talk about their relationship with Download and them playing. So, like you said, they played Monsters of Rock in 1998. They played in 2006 and 2018. Let's talk a little bit about 2006 because we were both there for that one.
Yeah. I mean, I do remember that night quite well. I wasn't awake or wasn't aware of the riots. And again, I was aware that riots happened, but I didn't know how bad they were until recently. And there are videos on YouTube. Like, people were up all night, like, setting fire to stuff. And some of the videos are sort of dawn. Yeah, not dusk. They're dawn.
Yeah.
Where the sun's just rising. So you can see they've been at it all night. And the police came in and everything. Did they have fire engines?
Yeah, there were fire engines going around. There were riot police. I was there. I was there experiencing all of the craziness that went on till the early hours. I'm not quite sure what time we went to sleep, but it was... Yeah. I can't fathom how insane it was to see those riots. But yeah, anyway, let's go. Why did they riot? So let's go back to the beginning. Yeah,
what incited? I was going to try and get to that. What incited it? So, the usual stuff. I mean, I wasn't aware of a lot of Guns N' Roses live shenanigans, let's say. So I just stood there waiting. I remember, and they were a good hour and a half late. I think I want to say. So they probably should have come on around 8 o'clock. I would say maybe 8:30. And it was close to 10 before they came on. And there was no other bands playing at that point. You know, so many people just stood waiting. And, 10 minutes is a long time just stood waiting for a band to come on. Yeah. And a good hour and a half is a long time.
Hour and a half over. So if you were already rating an hour before their set, you would have been waiting 2.5 hours for Guns N' Roses to come on the stage.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. And yeah, they came out. I think they stormed off a couple of times as well. I don't remember exactly how many songs they played before all that happened, but I know he was complaining about there being water on the stage or some liquid that was slippery. He might have slipped over once, like quite early on. And I've read in a book since, and I don't know how true this is. It's something that we've said several times.
Yeah, it's great.
But we don't know the truth behind it. But so the reason why he was slipping over so much is because he had these like weird, super expensive snakeskin boots. They don't have any grip because they're snakeskin. And so he was throwing a hissy fit, allegedly. I don't know if we need to say that every time at the moment. This is all allegedly, okay? Everything I'm going to say about this moment on... I don't think we need to say that, but anyway. So he was backstage trying to find a pair of shoes that he could wear instead of these snakeskin shoes. But because he has a size 5.5 feet, there was hardly anybody backstage that had shoes that he could wear. And I think eventually they managed to find one person who was able to give Axl Rose his shoes. It's like, just imagine that Axl Rose coming down a corridor. Can I have his shoes? Yes. Yes. I was not expecting
that would be awesome to have those shoes. Axl Rose performed at Download in these shoes. That's cool.
Yeah. You could, but these are weird crocodile skin ones. Sorry, they're the right size, but the crocodile skin.
I love it.
Yeah. So that is the rumor. I don't remember how long they played for. They probably would have gone over that allocated time, but by how much 100%. I don't know how much of that time
there would have been.
Up.
Like 11, maybe the curfew was later then. Might have been 11:30. Might have even been midnight back then. I can't remember. Now it's like 11, you're done. You have to stop playing. But back then they might have been able to push the limits a little bit more. So I can't remember. I mean, we probably watched 3 or 4 songs and then left. We didn't really have much interest in Guns N' Roses. We were more intent on going back to the tents and getting pissed, basically.
Went to start the riot.
Yeah. Well, we didn't start it. We certainly... Well, we didn't burn or smash anything. Oh, well, I don't know. Okay. Allegedly.
Can I leave that in? Can I leave that in?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, allegedly.
Amazing. Cool.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, I can't go. We didn't burn or smash it. Actually... Do you know what? Maybe we did.
Not going to say anymore.
Yeah, so I slept through it. I think everyone was scared at that point, but that's what happened every time. So this was a Sunday night, wasn't it? As well, it was Sunday night, and there was always people starting small fires on Sunday nights. You'd have like the little quad bike, fire quad bike, or maybe something a little bit bigger, just zipping around all the campsites, trying to put all these fires out. Yeah. So like it was normal. So like everyone was always a little bit on edge, but there was something different about 2006.
Yeah.
And people knew there was riots happening. We weren't anywhere near it, I don't think. So I'd heard that they were happening, but didn't see it. And I think I went to sleep. I was like, I'm not staying up all night. I'm going to bed. The only thing I heard after it was there was somebody I know who was there. And somebody, one of their friends was boasting. He was like, "Oh, did you hear about the bin being on fire, the big wheelie bin being on fire?" Yeah, that was our mate Luke, somebody I know, and that's all I heard. And I was like, "Oh, maybe there's a couple of fires in bins, a couple of fires over there, people rioting like they normally do on Sunday nights." But no, it was way worse than the normal Sunday night.
It was a combination of things that we talked about before when we've done our 2000. If you want to know all about this, by the way, go back and listen to our 2006 episode, because we talk about 2006 in huge detail. But it was a combination of this was the hottest download on record before 2023. So this was absolutely scorching, and download didn't have the water provisions. It didn't have the infrastructure that it has now. So you had like 100,000 people feeling shitty after Guns N' Roses being dicks, water selling out, none of that water, everyone dehydrated, and just feeling like it was the dam was going to burst at any moment, and then people just decided to go a little bit more mental than they normally would at the end of download. So it's so hard to picture now for people that are kind of new downloaders. Everyone was just a lot more angry in the 2000s, okay? Like, now everyone seems quite chilled out, but people then were just so angry about stuff that things just got smashed and burnt and trampled, and that was just standard practice during download of these times. You'd walk past people setting fire to a tent, and you wouldn't even bat an eyelid. You'd just walk past. If you saw someone doing that at download now, you'd be like, holy shit, these guys are trying to burn a tent. But back then, you would just completely ignore it. It wouldn't even fathom you to even, you might look and go, oh, look at those guys. That's it. That's as far as your interest would go in them doing that. So it was a different time, different world. But yeah, it was, crazy. One of the craziest things I've seen. People just, my memories of it are people banging on steel drums like John, 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 da, 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 da. And then like people just chucking gates and tents and sleeping bags onto just giant biffa bins on fire. People banging stuff, smashing stuff, screaming, playing music, like just trashing absolutely everything they possibly could. Like it was some sort of end of the world party with just full of Neanderthals. And you know, it sounds like it was loads of sort of toxic masculinity. Believe me, there were plenty of women involved in this as well. It wasn't just a lot of dehydrated men. There were women everywhere as well, doing all of these things, you know, to the same extent that the men were, and women were there as well. So I don't want it to think that it's like a Woodstock 99 scenario where it's just, you know, drugged up men trying to touch women. This was not that sort of thing. It was an outpouring of anger from everyone, basically. So yeah, nothing since has happened at download, and I don't think anything ever will again, because it's just such a weird mental thing.
Question: if I watch those videos again about the riots, am I likely to see you? Because I wasn't looking for you last time.
You never know. You never know. You never know. I could pop up in some of them. Probably won't, but yeah, I've watched a lot of the videos on there and used a couple of clips for a few videos. It's just interesting to watch, just to see quite to the scale that it was. Yeah.
I mean, because like I said, I was there at the time. I was around at the time, and I didn't know how bad it was until recently. So.
Riot police don't get called to a place unless it's bad, and it was bad. You know, it was that bad. Riot police were there. That's bad.
Yeah. Jesus, I think that might have been the year as well. But my friend of mine, Frodo, There was a few people camped near us. They'd had a big sort of circle in the middle of the tents, and they had a big fire going. And there was definitely a deodorant can or some kind of aerosol can in that fire, and they were all jumping over it just to see who, kind of like Buckaroo or just it's gonna get somebody. Let's see who it gets. And my friend Frodo, when I joined, was like, "You madman! Like you happily go and just jump over this fire with these other guys." But
no fair. I love it.
That was normal. That was standard download Sunday night.
Yeah, standard behaviour, literally.
Yeah.
And for quite a few years to come as well. I don't think that stuff really stopped happening till like 2010 kind of time, but 2005, 6, 7, 8, and 9, the campsites were pretty damn wild.
Yeah.
Pretty damn wild.
Jesus. Should we move on to 2018?
Yeah, let's talk about 2018. So 2006, obviously, if you watch clips of their 2006 performance, it sounds pretty good, to be fair. So there are a few clips of Guns N' Roses playing, and you're like, that actually sounds pretty good. So I'm sure the performance was okay. It's probably just everything surrounding the performance that wasn't good, like the turning up late, all that other bollocks that was happening. But
disappearing as well.
Disappearing.
He finally got there.
Yeah.
Was he gone again? What is he doing?
Yeah, going off stage for stuff is shitty. So let's revert to Guns N' Roses in definitely a more positive light, which is Download 2018. I will say, apart from AC/DC 2010 and Slipknot 2009, the Guns N' Roses Day in 2018 is the busiest I've ever seen Download. Ever. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was busy.
Crazy busy. And that's when I kind of realised, wow, man, Guns N' Roses have a huge pull for people. I was literally like, wow, there is a shitload of people here. Like, it took so long to get stage to stage. It was just absolutely crazy.
Yeah. And I'll say it now. I loved 2018. A lot of people hated it. A lot of people loved it, which is weird. Like, there's not many people that are in between, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah,
I thought it sounded great.
Yeah, it's one of those performances. People, like you said, like if you got 10 people, 5 of them would say it was an amazing, great performance, and 5 would say it was just rubbish and he couldn't sing very well.
Yeah.
So it's a polarizing gig for the people that are massive Guns N' Roses fans, and like you were with a massive Guns N' Roses fan at the time, and you enjoyed it. I would
say I was hammered though. I was very, very drunk.
That probably
but
helped.
Still, I still enjoy. Probably helped, but I still enjoyed it. I wasn't hammered at the beginning of their set.
And this was
got hammered through their set.
Was this a Sunday again?
It might have been, yeah.
I can't remember what day it was, but let me just check that quickly.
Yeah, you should know. You remember these things.
I don't know.
I
could tell you which bands played. I can't tell you which fucking days they played. Now you're talking. No, it was Saturday. Yeah.
Okay.
It was Saturday. So we just checked it. It was Saturday night. Because it was also in the Sunday. Yeah, that makes more sense. Like Avenged Sevenfold played on the Friday, and the difference between the Avenged Sevenfold Day busy and the Guns N' Roses Day busy was like night and day. I'm not saying Guns N' Roses can't, Avenged Sevenfold can't pull a crowd, but fucking hell, you noticed the difference between the two bands. It was like, Jesus Christ. I saw Thy Art Is Murder when Guns N' Roses were on, because you've got to love deathcore in a small tent. When deathcore was cool, obviously it's not cool anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Fucking hipster.
Bloody hipsters now, eh? But I watched them, and then me and Carter came out, and we sat on the hill and watched a couple of songs. So I don't have any sort of vivid memories of it. I remember, we were sitting there like, this seems fine, seems good. Yeah. Crowd was huge. They played for like 3 hours, which you can't knock that when a band plays for that long. Being musicians, singing on stage or being on stage for even longer than 45 minutes is so tough and demanding. And for those guys to be, older gentlemen, they were probably mid-50s by this point, to go on stage and sing and perform for 3 hours, no matter how bad it is still wowzer territory to play for that long. So you can't say that they didn't try and do themselves justice and wipe the slate clean of the 2006 debacle.
No, you can't. Some people would like to, So people
You have to
complain about
respect
how
it,
long
though.
they
You
were
have to
playing.
respect it. From a performance point of view, you have to respect someone who plays for 3 hours.
Me, absolutely, yeah. Some people are dickheads, but I, yeah, it didn't feel like 3 hours to me, if I'm honest. But like I said, I was hammered. I tried to get down quite close with a friend of mine, Jacob. Yeah, he's one of the biggest Guns N' Roses fans, and they started playing, and I was there, and I remembered I'm also a big Guns N' Roses fan. Like, I was there for him, and I was like, I like a lot of their stuff still. I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah.
And he had this bottle of wine, and I was like, can I have some of that? So I was drinking a little bottle of wine, and I was like, I want one of them, because I couldn't be real close to the front with him sharing this one bottle of wine that he had paid for. So like, let's go and get one. Let's go one for me. And we went out. So I think we stayed for like 2 or 3 more songs. I was like, yeah, I'm ready to go. And started walking away. As we started walking away, they played Rocket Queen, which is my favourite Guns N' Roses song. It might have changed a little bit now, actually, because I forget how many absolutely amazing songs they have. But yeah, that has been one of my favourite songs of theirs for a long time. So that was a bit gutting. But yeah, we went and got a bottle of wine. We probably got another bottle of wine each after that at some point. But yeah, we were hammered. They were like, it was £26 for a bottle of wine, which was ridiculous.
It was quite it was a nice warm day. I remember that being as well. Nice sunset. And it was a nice hot day as well. So, I'm sure I've said this before and you've mentioned this, but who the fuck drinks wine in the crowd of downloads?
Ask Jacob. He gave me the idea because he already
It's the
got it
weirdest
without
choice.
me.
I know what won't give us a headache tomorrow. Let's drink bottles of wine in the blazing sunshine.
Hey, I loved it that much. So this was the time that you could get the loyalty scheme. I loved it that much. I was thinking, right, next year, my loyalty scheme money is going on 2 bottles of wine.
That's unbelievable.
But we all know they stopped doing the loyalty scheme after that year. Was it after that year? Or was it?
No, it was.
No,
they were still
stopped
doing it.
They
2022,
were doing it.
I think. 22,
Yeah,
23.
we didn't
one of those.
know each other in 2018.
No.
So
I
I
can't
must have got
remember.
that money.
It was one of those. It was one of those years, anyway.
Anyway, but yeah, I loved it. I didn't care what it sounded. Well, I didn't care what it sounded like. I thought it sounded great. Whether that was drunken ears or whether they did just sound great, it's a mystery. It always baffled me how many people said it was crap. I was like,
Yeah.
what did you hear? I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, yeah.
It depends, doesn't it, what
cool.
people want from a thing. And I've seen a couple of clips online. I'm like, yeah, that sounds okay, I guess. Probably didn't sound great, but maybe if you were there in the depths of the crowd, you felt the energy of it and it was a bit better. You know, I'm not saying it's a bad performance, but you know, in years before, they've probably performed a lot better than that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Anyway, you know, we won't dabble too much into any more of that. But yeah, so basically, their performances download at the moment are a bit of a mixed bag because 2006 was a disaster. To 2018, they tried to make up for it and perform for a long time, but it's kind of a mixed bag when it comes to people's reviews. So I'm not sure how that bodes for this time, but we'll get to that after we talked about a bit of their music, and we'll get about what you guys should expect from them.
Yeah.
So, shall we talk about some Guns N' Roses albums, or is there anything you want to talk about before we get into that?
Yeah, let's just go back a little bit to them being announced for download, because that was weird. Because they hadn't been announced for any other festival at that point. And we had heard a rumor. I mean, there was a few people that heard the same rumor. We'd heard a rumor that it was gonna be Guns N' Roses, and we were like, "That's weird. Why is Guns N' Roses playing when
they're not
no
playing anywhere
one else had got
else?
them?"
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was my initial reaction. Was like, what the hell is happening? Why have we got them? Now my opinion has changed a little bit. But what were your thoughts, if you remember what they were about the announcement?
Well, they're a huge draw. There's a lot of Guns N' Roses stuff I like. I don't go out of my way to listen to them really anymore. But if I hear stuff from Guns N' Roses, I'm always like, I like this. And there are specific songs that I really like and play. I'm not saying I'm like the biggest Guns N' Roses fan or anything, but I do appreciate a lot of their stuff. But it's not a band I look on the lineup and get instantly excited by. It also depends on the time, you know. If it was the 90s or maybe even the 2000s, I'd probably be far more excited about it. But Guns N' Roses now doesn't excite me. Guns N' Roses 20, 30 years ago would have been a different story. So I think it's all about the time for me rather than what the band or what songs they have. It's all about that it's Guns N' Roses in 2026, which doesn't excite me. And from what I heard, their sets are half covers anyway. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I was like, yeah, like I said before, none of the headliners for this download thrill me at all. So, you know, it's not a thrilling. I don't look at it. I don't look at it. I'm not thrilled by the headliners. Where other years I've looked and been like, wow, okay, all right. They're not bad in any way. It's just it doesn't excite me like other years have. Even when there's been, like, I like all three bands that are playing this year, and when announcement has come with a band that I don't even like, but it's thrilled me more to see them headlining than it does these bands, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So I see what you mean. It's difficult. It's difficult to tell what kind of pull they would have now, because almost everybody would have heard them at the Back to the Beginning show, where he sounded pretty awful.
Yeah.
But like you said, in 2018, it was one of the busiest days Downloads ever had.
Yeah.
So how much does his voice sort of put people off? Is there still going to be a lot of people wanting to go and see them? Probably is going to be that busy.
And it could have been like a thing that's completely really taken out of context. You know, it was like a weird performance. We don't know what kind of stuff they'd done. Obviously, they were doing covers and other stuff. So who knows? He might get on stage at Download and might be like, wow, awesome. So again, no one really knows what to expect from this show, because there has been a couple of things recently, some clips that have been doing the rounds of him kind of being a dick again a little bit. So saying some things to the crowd and getting mad at the drummer and throwing some stuff at him. And, you know, we a lot like the band would have said back then, we don't know which version of Axl Rose is going to show up at this. It could be the 2006 or it could be the 2018. We don't know. So it's kind of making it almost seem like one of the most interesting performances that there's been a Download, because it's like, who knows what's going to happen. So if you're there, you probably should go and watch, because it could just be a standard gig or it could be an absolute train wreck that you need to witness.
Yeah, cool. I get that, because like I said, 2018 was kind of, you got to make up for 2006. You got to be on best behavior.
Yeah. And I'm sure, they're all better behaved people now. They're not all drug addicts. They're not all doing all this crazy stuff. They're all older gentlemen. I'm sure most of them have learned from their mistakes, and they probably appreciate playing these places a lot more. You know, you don't hear anything about Axl Rose really being a dick these days. You know, times have changed. They've changed. The world's changed. So I'm not saying it's going to be like a crazy 2006 performance, but you know, he can still get pissed off at someone on stage and act a specific way, because that's just, it seems like that's just the sort of person that he is. He'll get, if someone messes up on the drums, he'll be like, I'm not fucking tolerating that, because you have to be perfect because we're Guns N' Roses. So you can, you know, like I liken it to the James Brown thing. You know, James Brown would have session musicians all the time live, and if you messed up, you know, he was such a perfectionist. If you messed up, he'd rub his fingers together at you like that, as if to say, docking your pay, boy, you just fucked up one of my songs. you know, like these but that's what I mean. These people who are working on different levels, you know, you if you fuck up their music, if you're not perfect, if you've embarrassed them, they you know, that's coming, boy. And you know, that drummer might have done something that Axl was just like, nah, didn't do that in rehearsals or whatever, and he might have turned around and said, fucking play the drums properly. And in a way, being a musician, and if you were a perfectionist or in these big bands, you can sort of understand these things, and it might just be a dynamic between the two, and maybe they talked about doing something and he still did it, or I don't know what circumstances they were. But yeah, so it's, you know, it's happened in bands before, and I'm sure it will happen with, you know, whatever's going on in the world around it. But yeah, so who knows? Who knows? Well, yeah, who knows anyway? But let's move on. Let's move on from that.
Yeah.
Let's run through some Guns N' Roses. Let's talk about the best bit of Guns N' Roses, which is their music. Forget all the rest of the stuff, although some of it will be mentioned within these. Let's run through the albums quickly, which I forgot how many albums they don't have, which is the weirdest way of saying that, but I forgot that they've only got really a few albums. I mean, not many compared to, you kind of liken them to like a band like Nirvana, where you think, yeah, they must have tons of stuff. And then you remember, fucking hell, the band's only got 3 or 4 albums and they're this world phenomenon, renowned musicians. And it's just crazy that people can be this big and only have this many albums. When you see some band that have like, they put out an album every 3 or 4 years and they've got like Maiden, for instance, they've got 30 albums and they've put out an album every 3 or 4 years. And you get these bands that just don't have to do that. And they're just as big, if not bigger, which is different ways of people doing it. Like, we'll get into it. There's been a lot of struggles within Guns N' Roses musically and changing members and all sorts of stuff, which has led to them not making as many albums, where a band like Maiden that's been more stable with their members, although they've changed them, they've had stability for a longer period of time, which has probably allowed them to have more of an album output than a band like Guns N' Roses. Probably one of the reasons why. But anyway, I digress. Let's move on to music. Let's start with the album that put them on the map, the album that blew up and sort of automatically made them a household name. It's 1987's Appetite for Destruction. I'll say a little bit about it and then we shall discuss. Some absolutely huge tunes on their debut record. Welcome to the Jungle, Paradise City, Sweet Child of Mine. I also really like the song Night Train as well. This is the only Guns N' Roses album I owned on CD. Although it has a few cracking tunes, the rest of this album kind of feels like filler for me, and it did back in the day as well. When I put it on, I was like, there's 4 or 5 really good songs on this, but I don't like this album that much. Like, everyone holds this album in such high regards, but for me, it's my least favourite Guns N' Roses album. Weirdly. Probably because I like the stuff they've done after this is more interesting to me than the straight up rock and roll stuff on this album. I feel like it's all the same sort of tempo and it all has the same sort of rhythm guitars when I was listening back to it this time. I understand music more now than I did when I first listened to this album. I didn't really know why I didn't like it. I think those are the reasons why I never liked it that much and why I probably still don't. Although, like I said, still contains some bangers. Side note, have you seen the original cover for this album?
Ooh, I probably have.
Because it is way cooler than the album artwork they ended up with.
Maybe I haven't. I hadn't actually seen this. Maybe once or twice when I was a lot younger, and I'd forgotten what it looked like. I'd say it is cooler. It's not as iconic though. Like the one they used is simpler, and I think that works. There's a lot going on this.
It's explicit as well, and it's to do with like there's a woman on there that's just been I can't say this word on here, has just had something done to her, and then there's like a robot and a monster, and it's a weird kind of story. Basically, that's what they wanted to put it out with. Initially, there's like some really rare CDs and records that were originally pressed with the original cover.
Really?
But then all of the record stores were like, nah, we're not putting this in. It's too explicit. So then they had to change it. So I think there are some really rare CDs and records out there and tapes with the original cover and the original pressings, but then they all got pulled and then they put out other ones. So the people that were lucky enough to get it straight away, but wow, man, I'm sure they're worth quite a bit of money now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Apparently the album, the music was recorded within a month, so quite quickly. However, Axl's vocals took a lot longer than that, as he insisted on recording every line separately.
Really? Jesus.
And I never knew that about the album. I just found that out doing
No, I
research
didn't.
for this. So he recorded every line separately, apparently, rather than doing them all at once. So that made the album take a lot longer. But the actual initial music was done in 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. Cool. So I will say right at the beginning, I did stick on every album, but I didn't get to the end of any of them. I had heard how I know I said last episode that this was the only album I'd listened to, and you said about Use Your Illusion 1 or 2. I had listened to them both before as well, actually, but not very much. And this one I've listened to it all the way through, but not very much as well. But I think I agree with you with a lot of filler songs. Like, I was expecting this album to be bang on every song, to be one that I knew and had known for a long time, similar to Metallica's Master of Puppets. Like 10 out of 10, every song is 10 out of 10 basically. But there was a couple on here that I didn't recognise, and I was like, oh, maybe this wasn't what I thought it was. And I think that was the same with all of their albums. So I thought I'd say this off the bat instead of saying this every time we talk about the albums.
Yeah.
I think their singles are what a lot of people come for with Guns N' Roses, and there are a lot of singles. Probably half the album, half of most of their albums are single worthy.
Well, yeah.
So I think you don't need to listen to the whole album. I think I can't talk for everybody, but it didn't appeal to me to go back and listen to the whole album when they got so many singles, so many massive hits from it. Like, it was different with Linkin Park. I wanted to listen to all the albums for Linkin Park because sort of they came out when I've been into it, if that makes sense. And people I know have experienced those albums as they came out, whereas these were all out before my time. Maybe not all, but you know what I mean? Before I was into this kind of thing, and it was like, I'm not interested in going back and listening to these. Just give me the singles.
Okay, yeah, sure. So just on Appetite for Destruction, I don't think it's as good as everyone makes it out to be, personally. I think the rest of the albums well, not the rest of them. It's just not as legendary. It has legendary singles, but like Adam was saying, I think everything in between isn't really that good. But probably the reason why it's so big is, like Welcome to the Jungle, Paradise City, Sweet Child of Mine are literally 3 of the biggest rock songs ever, and they're all on this album. So that's probably why the album is on such high regard. If 2 of those were taken away and it was just one big track on there, it probably wouldn't be held in such high regard. And a big Guns N' Roses fan right now is probably screaming into their headphones or at the computer, wherever they're listening to this, saying, what on earth are you babbling on about? But sorry. Not as good as it's made out to be, I don't think.
No, I think, again, you kind of had to be there at the time and experience this coming out, experience the band just blowing up massively for the first time.
Yeah.
Because the video that I watched, it said that Sweet Child of Mine was completely overlooked when it first came out.
Yeah.
It wasn't the song it is today. And I can't remember the timing, but I want to say about a year passed before people actually took notice of how good Sweet Child of Mine was. But now it's the song that if you say to somebody, name a Guns N' Roses song, most people will say Sweet Child of Mine. It's the most iconic song, which, so it's different. It's different listening to it or getting into them or hearing it now than it was at the time. And I don't think many people will ever understand how big it was at the time, how iconic it was, and how huge they were right at the beginning.
Unless you were there. Yeah, we're looking at these albums retrospectively. So although we did listen to these albums in the 2000s, which probably was only a good 10 or 13 years after this came out, so not actually that long after it came out, really, but we weren't there at the time to experience the initial big blow up of the band. So I'm sure some people feel really close to this album, but we don't see this album through rose tinted glasses. So we're looking at it retrospectively, but with a different kind of set of eyes. So, yeah. But anyway, let's move on. So we'll mention briefly Lies, the 1988 album. Although not a full album, it's more like a kind of EP. It does have some new songs in it, but it has some live stuff in it as well. But I'll just quickly mention one bit about it. So this album drew massive controversy at the time for one song in particular, which was One in a Million, for the use of offensive slurs in one song, such as I won't say them obviously, the N-word and the F-word, which isn't a very nice thing to call a gay person. Although these were defended as satire within the context of the song's story, because it was told through someone else's eyes, which I get, it's storytelling. But Axl did admit years later that the language could be deemed as offensive, and maybe he shouldn't have put in there, although he did say that other musicians at the time were using these words, especially like in the hip-hop and rap world, where people were just dropping M-bombs wherever, and it seemed to be fine, although a lot of these people wear black, so it kind of has a different context. But he thinks he was kind of singled out because they were the big band at the time, and other people were doing it, but no one really said anything about it. But I think it was all to do with context of the track. I don't think he was actually out to, to hurt anyone anyway. But Lies, I listened to a couple of tracks of it. It's fine. Nothing to write home about. It's quite similar to... It's in that same sort of rock and roll vein to Appetite for Destruction. There was nothing on it that I particularly enjoyed. It was fine.
No, so, one thing I learned about this was it was a little bit after Appetite for Destruction, and they had obviously blown up massively. They were rock stars now. They were gods, and Axl basically fucked off for a bit, and the record label were like, we need to put something out. So they managed to grab a lot of these tracks from previous recordings just to put out to try and keep the hype going, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's and I've got hardcore Guns N' Roses fans like a lot of the stuff on it, but yeah, it's fine. It's nothing really to write home about. Let's move on to Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 from 1991. Albums that I'm quite familiar with. We'll get into it, but I like a lot of the songs from these two. My friends at the time, a lot of my friends were really big into Guns N' Roses, so I heard these songs a lot and saw the covers a lot, and we're just around them generally a lot. Were you aware of these albums? Obviously, it would have been the 2000s for us, but...
Well, yeah, when were they out? Because I was meaning to look them up.
1991.
Again, 1991. So... I was curious because, again, the video I watched, the people were saying, like, they wanted to bring out not just 2 albums, there were 2 double albums, at least on record, both sides or whatever. And I couldn't figure out whether they meant they brought them out on the same day, or if it was like one year and then 10 months later, 12 months later, like similar to like Hypnotized and Mesmerized that System of a Down did. And I was like, did they bring them out at the same time? They weren't saying. But that's crazy. I think I know a lot more from Use Your Illusion 2 than Use Your number. I think I know a lot more from number 2 than number 1.
That's better. Yeah, it's hard to say. Yeah.
Yeah. I did stick number 1 on, listened to about half of it. I didn't recognize hardly any songs. So yeah, I assume I hadn't listened to this very much or very many of the songs. So yeah, I wasn't that bothered by it.
Well, this should answer your question about their release stuff. So these 2 albums were released at the same time on the same day, debuting at numbers 1 and 2 on the album charts, making Guns N' Roses...
In that order, or was it...
1 and 2. I think 2 was 1 and 1 amazing. Was 2. Guns N' Roses, making Guns N' Roses the only act to achieve this feat for the first time, to have 2 top 10 singles, 2 top 10 albums since Jim Croce in 1974. I don't know who he is.
No, I don't know who he is.
But it was a big deal to have like just 2 albums just straight out there, number 1 and number 2, like massive. Like these were 2 of the most anticipated albums of all time at this point. Like people were chomping at the bit for Guns N' Roses, so it's understandable.
Yeah.
I think they sold 500,000 copies in the first week combined of these 2 albums, or something stupid like that. It's like
crazy.
ridiculous. Yeah, stupid amount of buys.
But yeah, that might seem strange to hear now, or not as big a deal. But back at that time, the charts was everything. The singles chart, the album chart. You know,
Yeah.
you'd go into Woolworths and look, and they would have the whole chart in order.
It was a big
And
deal.
a lot of people, a lot of people that listen to this probably will know that. But you know, there might be people listening for the first, like who are going to download for the first time, and they're quite young and they don't understand just what kind of how big a deal the charts were.
Yeah. Yeah, charts aren't such a big deal these days, but being a musician, it's always your aim to have things liked by a lot of people. So to have your album even in the top 10 or anywhere near the top 10 is a huge deal. So to have both of your albums at number 1 and 2 is like mind-blowing status. So in my opinion, I prefer Use Your Illusion 2 to 1. I think it's much better. It's more interesting musically and isn't... the first one is more rock and roll-y. And the second one is just a little bit more interesting and kind of a little bit more diverse musically. I actually think if you take the best tracks off both these albums and put them together, it makes one album that's better than having 2 albums.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. So,
Yeah.
I have made my own combined version of this album, and it is a playlist
Nice.
on Spotify with an alternative cover as well. So, if you want to
that's
hear
cool.
my version of these 2 albums, the best songs into one album, which I think is one good album, one really good album. Like they're both good albums. The first one's good. The second one's really good. I like it a lot. But if you combine the best songs together, it makes a fucking amazing album with no filler at all. So
Yeah.
Adam
Awesome.
will put a link to that in the description.
Yeah.
Of
course I will.
Simon's Used Your Illusion final version. I'll just give you the
Final
quick
version.
rundown of the songs. So, Civil War, you could be, and I've put them in an order which I think they would go as well. It's not around. This is the album I've put them in specifically. So, Civil War, You Could Be Mine, Perfect Crime, Knocking on Heaven's Door, Estranged, Live and Let Die, Don't Cry, 14 Years, and November Rain. That is my ultimate version of Use Your Illusion. So, if you want to listen to that all the way through, it's amazing. Then
Yeah.
the link will be in the description for that as well. But yeah, like, you know, Civil War has always been my favourite Guns N' Roses song. And I think it still is my favourite Guns N' Roses song. I get goosebumps at the end of that song, even now. It's just, I don't know why, I've just always loved that song. There's just something
Yeah.
about it that I just can't. The guitar solos, his vocals, the production, it's just so boomy, so well written. It's such a good song. The lyrics are fantastic as well. I love that song. I always have.
Yeah. I love that song. Yeah.
It's great,
So
isn't
It's
it?
a really, really
it's
good
fantastic. I will say as well that these 2 albums probably have 2 of the best covers of all time, I would say. Knocking on Heaven's Door, I think, is a better
song. Yeah.
cover than the original is. It's a better song, their version of it. And Live and Let Die, I think I prefer the original just a little bit more, but their version is an absolutely cracking version of that song. And Guns N' Roses have done the Spaghetti Incident, which we didn't talk about, which was 1993, was just a covers album. That's okay. I don't like their Misfits cover on it. I don't think it's any good. Attitude by the Misfits was one of my favourite Misfits songs. I don't think that's great. But these 2 covers, I mean, yeah, they're just really great covers.
Yeah. Absolutely incredible. Yeah. Like I said, even though I hadn't really listened to these albums very much, or not for a long time, if at all, I knew every song you said just then, because they are so massive.
Yeah.
At least half of their songs are huge hits.
Yeah, massive. I mean, even the sub hits, Estranged, that he did release a video for at the time, that's still done really well. Like, it didn't do, You Could Be Mine numbers, but at the time it would have been a big single which just beefed up all the rest of the stuff from these albums.
Yeah.
So and I'll just talk about November Rain again, which is just I hadn't listened to the song in quite a while, and listening to it again, like, I always liked that song a lot, but wow, man, that's an epic song. My God, man, like, I forgot how many. Thinking about it back in the day, that song was played a hell of a lot on Kerrang.
It was, yeah.
Man, I just it brought back so many memories of that video and just like sitting drinking in people's houses and just watching the November Rain video and just being like, oh man, it just reminded me of so many great times. And I love that song so much as well. So yeah, I think overall these two albums are two very good albums, and I think that they're both better than Appetite for Destruction. I don't like one as much as two, because one's got more straight up rock stuff on it. But as a straight up rock album, Use Your Illusion 1 is way better than Appetite for Destruction, in my view. And Use Your Illusion 2 is an incredible album from start to finish.
Yeah. Just give me... Yeah, oh, it's on there. So, talking about a strange dent. So, my introduction to Guns N' Roses was, I had their live album, Guns N' Roses Live Era, 87 to 93. That was the only album of theirs I owned. And I listened to it loads, absolutely loads. And I couldn't remember... I thought Estranged was on there, and I looked through it, I was like, it's not on there. How did I know that song? But it is on there. But there's a few on there that are so good. If you haven't listened to that album, go and listen to it, because it's just ridiculous. But yeah, I just remembered about Mr. Brownstone as well, because that was obviously an absolutely massive song of theirs, and I didn't really pay much attention to it until when I was a sound guy for a covers band, and they played it, and just listening to it again, like then it just grew on me and grew on me and grew on me, and it's like it was one of my favorite songs of theirs after that.
Nice.
So I think it's so easy to just find another song that is your favorite song from Guns N' Roses. Just listen to more of their stuff.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, this is way better than everything else I've heard now. Yeah. This is now my new favorite song, because they've got so many big hits, so many amazing songs.
Yeah, they do. And we get this a lot when we do the headliners. Is like, we can't listen to every band all the time, but I feel like doing this sometimes sort of gives us our love back for some bands that we haven't quite paid enough attention to, or we paid a lot of attention to back in the day, and we've kind of let them go by the wayside. And I feel like sometimes these conversations that we have sort of reignite our fire and love for some of the bands. And it's definitely done this with Guns N' Roses. Like, I've just been like, oh my God, like, God, I forgot how many great songs this band has got.
That
gives
me such a nice, good feeling in my stomach and sort of in here, just to hear you say that. Actually,
yeah,
that's so cool.
It's great when you, and hopefully this is doing that for other people as well, and sort of, going, oh God, yeah, actually, do you know what? I didn't really care about this Guns N' Roses set, but now I'm getting excited about it, and hopefully we can get people excited to see them. Which just would be great. But anyway, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 are both great albums. You should check them out. They're really, really, really great, and definitely worth your time if you want to check out songs for, the download sets that they're going to play. Right, let's move on to their final album. Weird that we have a go at bands like System of a Down that haven't produced an album for some time, but, this band haven't made an album since 2008, which is a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, again, it's one of those things. Yes, they are a huge name, but also, where's your output? They have actually put out a new song. I haven't listened to it yet, but anyway,
they have. I listened to it, but we'll get to that.
Okay. But you can tell me all about that, right? So, basically, between 1991 and 2008's Chinese Democracy, we're going to talk about tons of lineup changes within the band. Duff left the band. Slash left the band. Buckethead came in. He had other guitarists. Basically, Axl Rose was the only remaining sort of solid person. Everyone else was sort of in and out. They had people from Nine Inch Nails come in. They had Dave Navarro from Red Hot Chili Peppers and Jane's Addiction come in. They just had a swap out of members from 1991 all the way up to about 2008 2006 to 8 when they kind of got a solid lineup for a few years. Before the reunions, of the 2010s. Right, strap yourselves in for this one, people, because if you haven't heard about Chinese Democracy before, you're in for a ride. So here we go. So this album is extremely interesting to talk about, and if you weren't around in the sort of late 90s and 2000s, you're not really going to understand quite how anticipated and constantly talked about this album was throughout every sort of metal rock circle. Like, people were mentioning it for years. So it's an interesting subject by itself. And again, read the Wikipedia page, because it's like reading a book for this album. It is like, I've crammed a lot of information into quite a brief part, but you can read even more. So I suggest you go and do it if you like the story of this. So it's a bit of a mess musically, but this might be my favourite Guns N' Roses album. Okay, I might like it equally as much or maybe a little bit more than Use Your Illusion 2. In my opinion, it's a great album, but shouldn't have cost how much money it did. But we'll get it. Should I mention that now? So basically, this album cost $14 million to make, which means it's the most expensive rock album ever made. No one has spent any more money on an album than Chinese Democracy. An estimated total of $14 million was spent on this album over a long stretch of time, and we will get to that. It wasn't just over a week.
Yeah, and they decided to bring it out just as streaming platforms came around, so people didn't have to buy it.
Yeah, so
for free.
Jesus Christ. Oh, honestly. So Axl Rose initially announced the album in 1999 during an interview with MTV, and confirmed that the band had recorded over 30 songs at the time. Rose called the album a melting pot of different styles and sounds, and the album was initially scheduled for release in 2000. Then legendary avant-garde guitarist Buckethead was hired and brought in, as well as loads of lineup changes. So loads of stuff sort of changed very quickly within Guns N' Roses. So the then current producer of the project, Ray Baker, convinced Rose to re-record all the songs again. So in 1999, they had 30 songs ready to go. But because they had so many lineup changes and the people that played on those songs weren't in the band anymore, they re-recorded all of those songs again. So
note by note.
Yeah,
like
just
did the
vocals. Each guitar note Buckethead had to record individually. So
that's not true. Sorry,
that's not true. So there was there was the initial version of the album, then there was the re-recorded version of the album, then that was scrapped, then there was a third version of the album, and then the third and fourth versions of the albums were blurred together to make the actual album that came out, as far as my research can show. So there very, very well may be two versions of this album that have never been released or heard of before. Who knows where those tapes are, or what the original...
Crazy.
Yeah, so, I mean, how much music changed from 1999 to 2008? It would probably be a vastly different album, I would have thought.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But it would be cool to hear... I mean, I don't know if that is anywhere, because there's all sorts of unreleased stuff on YouTube, and I haven't done that research. I'll probably have to look into that a little bit later. Anyway, I digress. So fast forward from 2000 to 2004, the band's label at the time, Geffen, made a statement, and I quote, "Having exceeded all budgeted and approved recording costs by millions of dollars, it is Mr. Rose's obligation to fund and complete the album, not Geffen's." So basically, in the 5 years that they recorded this album, he'd spent so much money on recording studios, artists, producers, and everything that basically the label said, "You're not spending any more of our money. Fuck off."
Yeah.
So that just showed, and then I read a little bit about, I won't go into details, but like apparently they had studios bought for months, and then like they'd only turn up to the studio for like a week, and then it would stay abandoned for like 3 or 4 months, and then they'd come back into the studio again. So just basically just burning money, just constantly just burning through money like there was no tomorrow. So yeah, I mean, like I said, read the Wikipedia. It's so detailed. It's really, really great.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's mad. Anyway, moving back to it. So, so basically by March 2004, the label Geffen had pulled all the funding for Chinese Democracy, so they weren't paying any more money into it. So it was all up to Axl and all the rest of the members to sort of fund it. Then in classic 2000 style, so 2 years later in 2006, this is going to blow your mind. These two things are just so typical 2000. So in 2006, 4 songs were leaked onto a fan site on the internet. But as it turns out, whoever got hold of these songs, they were unfinished versions of the songs. So people were hearing these highly anticipated songs, but they weren't quite finished yet. So already that didn't paint a good thing for the album, because people were like, these songs aren't that good. But it later came out that they were unfinished versions of the song. So I don't know who leaked them, or someone in the studio had got them out there. But
I remember that happening.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
I think I remember that happening, and I think IRS was the first one to leak.
Yes, that was definitely
one
of them.
I did actually hear it at the time, but I wasn't interested.
Yeah, but Guns N' Roses fans would have been like, wow, what the hell's going on? But yeah,
I remember Jacob was all over it.
Oh, I bet, of course he was, yeah. So it was like a taster, but it wasn't quite how Axl Rose wanted people to hear stuff. So that was in 2006.
Six, you said, yeah.
So then we fast forward to 2008, right? So you think of it, it's been so long, people are running this album, right? The company that owned Dr. Pepper announced a plan to give everyone in America a free can of Dr. Pepper if the band released Chinese Democracy before the end of 2008.
I'd not heard that.
I've never heard that before. And I can't believe I was at the forefront of this kind of shit. And I'd never heard that before. That is absolutely brilliant. I mean, like, that just shows you a company, a fully, massive, giant world company was so annoyed that they hadn't released the album that they were trying to give everyone free drinks just so they would release the album. Unbelievable. I don't think they ever actually went through with it, apparently, because it did come out in 2008, which we'll get to now. So finally, the album was released on November 22nd, 2008, thus coming out nearly a decade after it was first announced. Like I said, that's the short version of the story. The Wikipedia page is as long as a book. Go and do it. As far as the album goes, on the re-listen, this album is a lot better than people give it credit for. I think it's kind of more appreciated now, but at the time it got a lot of shit, and people were giving it 1-star reviews and saying how bad it was. I don't think, obviously, the album is worth $14 million, but, no album is really. But I do like a hell of a lot of stuff on this. Chinese Democracy is a song I've always liked. That song the best of this album, but on a re-listen, I think there's even better stuff on it. I think Better is a great song. If the World is Guns N' Roses doing their best Jamiroquai impression. And they should have made a whole album that sounded like that, because it's so good. So out of the zone of them, but so brilliant, so funky. Scraped is a great song. I think the song Sorry sounds like modern day Avenged Sevenfold, because Avenged Sevenfold now sound like what Guns N' Roses did on Chinese Democracy.
Okay.
And This Is Love is probably my second favourite Guns N' Roses track. Just an amazing piano, guitar ballad that is just incredible. I think the best way I can put this album for me is, this album for me sounds, or I kind of relate it to, if you like Life Is But a Dream by Avenged Sevenfold, that really fucking weird, all over the place musically album that's crazy and everywhere that they put out in 2003, that's probably my favourite Avenged Sevenfold album, is the same reason why this is probably my favourite Guns N' Roses album, because musically it's everywhere. There's no sense to it. There's no purpose to any of the songs, but all the songs are good. But it's just tonally wise, it's all over the place.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I lied to you. I did finish this album. When I said I didn't finish any of the Guns N' Roses albums, I did finish it. And I liked it. I was not interested in listening to it at the time, so this was the first time I'd ever heard it. Mm-hmm. I think it's a little bit too long. I think they could lose 2 or 3 songs from it. But they probably had a lot of songs to put on it that they'd written over the 11 years.
Yeah.
But I couldn't, at the time, I couldn't picture sort of who was around or what kind of bands were big it would have been 2006. Yeah, I was thinking 2005, 2006. when they were sort of probably recording these, what was popular at the time. But I really think they modernized their sound very well.
Yes, definitely.
It sounded really good. And then I think it was the first 3 songs like quite upbeat and heavy and modern. And then just number 4 that goes back to sounding like old Guns N' Roses, something like that. Or was it number 3 that goes back to that? I can't remember.
Hold on, let me just look at the... Yes, yeah. So then they go back a little bit to that kind of standard, not standard, but that kind of rock and roll vibe.
Yeah,
yeah. And then it jumps again on "If the World," which is the Jamiroquai one. So
okay, I don't remember that. So yeah. I mean that's not towards the end, but probably the last part of the album, I was getting a bit. Losing a bit of concentration, right. I should say. So I didn't really have too much to say about the end bit. That's why I said it could lose a few songs, but yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was sounded great. It wasn't trying to be the old Guns N' Roses.
No.
Which might be why a lot of people didn't like it, because they were waiting for them. They wanted them to not change.
Yeah.
Whereas Guns N' Roses or Axl or whoever wrote a lot of the songs. It's like, no, we need to be a bit more modern. And I think I remember thinking that actually for Use Your Illusion 1, it sounded a bit different. Probably, it went more rock and roll than glam.
Yes.
They were kind of like glam, hair metal-y kind of band before. So, yeah, I do remember thinking they've changed their sound, or they've tried to modernize themselves a little bit with the times.
Definitely.
More than I remember thinking that they would have, or they did. But yeah, I really liked it. I did listen to, I think, 3 of their new songs. Let me just go back and check. So they got more songs than I realised. So yeah, they released Nothing at the end of last year, and there's a few more recently. A couple in 2021, a couple in 2023. Oh, and a couple last year actually. I felt like. I think I listened to the first 3, so Nothing, Atlas, and The General. Maybe the next one, perhaps, as well. They were all a bit slower, and I remember thinking, well, listening to these, I should have written it down, really, but I think they're going for, like, the ballad kind of style. And those ballads work when they're on an album with a lot of their sort of normal-sounding stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah, at least definitely Nothing was just sort of slow, and it was a ballad, but it's not going to be anywhere near as epic as November Rain, which I wanted to point out as well. You said about that earlier, but November Rain was laughed at to start with. People didn't take it seriously. Or was it people loved it, and then after a while they didn't take it seriously? I can't remember. But people thought it was ridiculous. But people like us who heard it all the time was Cousin Kerrang. Loved it immediately, fell in love with it
100%.
straight away.
100%. It's a banger.
Yeah. But I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I think the newer stuff, whether they just don't care, and they're like, similar to what Linkin Park did, we're going to write songs, we're going to play songs that we want to write and play. We don't care about sounding like our old sound.
No.
Could be what they're doing. I don't know. I wasn't that interested, but some people might be.
I mean, I just think that if we just go back to Chinese democracy quickly.
Oh, sorry.
No, just like the bit in between what you're talking about in Chinese democracy. I wish they'd put out more stuff like this, because I probably would have been quite interested to see what they would have done next. And if it was this, a bit more contemporary sounding, but just more of it. Or I'd like to hear where the other songs are from this album. Like, if they did do 30 songs, where are the other 15 tracks? I want to hear those and see, because I really enjoyed a lot of this stuff. It's really good. I've been listening to Chinese democracy for the last week, just on repeat, because
Nice.
I think it's so good.
I'll probably go back to it at some point as well again.
Yeah, I've been blown away by a few of these songs that I either forgot about or just didn't take any notice of at the time, and I've been like, fucking hell, man, I should have been listening to this album for years. It's so good. And it's obviously reminded me Use Your Illusion 2 and a couple of the tracks that I really like. So I feel like this has been a really good exercise to sort of bring us back to liking Guns N' Roses again.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'll go back and I'll say what I sort of alluded to a little bit earlier. So the video that I watched, it was kind of like a documentary style where there's lots of different people talking about their experiences of Guns N' Roses at the time and what was happening. And in between, they played a lot of their songs sort of in the sort of break bits. And all, the whole video, it was like an hour-long video. Quite an old one. I expect a lot of people have seen it now. But it played all of their hits throughout this video. Like just little snippets, 10, 20, 30 seconds of one of their songs. And I was buzzing by the end of the video. I was like, yeah, I forgot how many massive hits they had for a start and how much I loved them all. And it really gave me a good feeling of like, I don't care what he sounds like now. I don't care what the performance is going to be like. I am going to really enjoy seeing Guns N' Roses this year now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's just like relinquished, someone's been filled up again with the passion for Guns N' Roses. And I hope a lot of people listening to this as well will now go and listen to their albums and maybe think, holy hell, that they've got loads of good songs. Their performance and vocals might not be what they were in the 90s or 80s or whatever, but I think you can still appreciate the songs and for what they are. And
yeah.
I think you might go to, if you're, a little bit sort of reluctant to go to Guns N' Roses, I think you should go and maybe you might enjoy yourself and have a good time and, make a really good Saturday night of it.
Yeah, if you're not enjoying it, go buy a bottle of wine. By the end of the bottle, you'll be enjoying it.
This is what you do, right? Everyone go to Guns N' Roses, right? And get tanked on a bottle of wine and you will have the best time you've ever had at Download. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I've been waiting to say that this whole time. I'm like, that's the overview. I can't say that right at the beginning. But yeah, I am super stoked.
Wow, he doesn't say that often, guys.
I don't say that often.
Super stoked.
Yeah. That's it's going to be cool, man. I'm going to love it. I'm going to really enjoy it. What's next?
That's it now. I think we should just do a little what to expect, maybe, if we've got that or whatever.
I think we've covered everything, even
pretty much
what people can expect.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else I'd want to say on what to expect. That was going to be my sort of last words on it, saying.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to put as much effort into this performance as they did in 2018, you're going to get loads of hits. You're going to get loads of covers you've never heard them do. You're going to, it's just going to be some good rock songs you can enjoy on a Saturday night. Hopefully the weather's good, like it was in 2018. And I'm sure a lot of people will have, there's going to be a lot of negativity around it as well, because there always is around Guns N' Roses, no matter how they perform. They could do the greatest performance ever in the world. People will still be negative about it. So I would say just go into this blind neutral, don't have any excess feelings, listen to some Guns N' Roses tracks, try and get into some stuff if you can, try and enjoy Chinese Democracy as much as I've been enjoying it. They probably don't play anything off of Chinese Democracy in their set now, but I think you'll just enjoy some really good rock songs and, enjoy it for what it is. It's Guns N' Roses 2026, but that's what we've got. And maybe if you, just take your brain out of it for a little bit and go and enjoy some rock music, you might dig it.
Yeah, but I think as well, I mean, you said several times the world is different now. 2006, people were pissed off with them. The only way people would have found out what was happening was through word of mouth. Like if people talk to their friends when they got back from Download, or reading in a magazine. But not everybody bought the magazines. Now with social media, if they're dicks, it'll be everywhere, and everyone will know about it. So, I don't know whether Axel will care about that. Whether he would just, if he's acting like that generally at the minute, anyway. But whether that would make him think differently or put him on his best behaviour, I don't know. But like you said, the world has changed. We don't act the same at Download anymore.
No.
And I think bands are a lot more professional now as well. Anyway.
Yes.
Partly because of the same reasons. So that's a good way to bring it back round to camping. Shall we? I mean, this is. I'm so looking forward to editing this one. I've been watching the time go up and up and up, thinking, I love a long episode, especially.
I'm not sure if he's being sarcastic or not. I don't know.
Oh no! Like, I know people say to us they like long episodes. Mm-hmm. Quite often they're a bitch to edit. Mm-hmm. and like it could be like a 2.5 hours that we record for, and I'll cut it down to like 2 hours. But with this, I'm going to try and keep it as long as possible. I feel good that we can, after doing it for so long, we can still talk about one band for over 2 hours.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and we could talk about more than that.
Yeah. Give us a microphone, we'll talk about anything. Jesus Christ, we would just babble on forever if we had the chance. Unfortunately, we have lives. Otherwise, we would probably just sit and do like a 24-hour frigging podcast. But yeah. But yeah, there's not really much we can say. We've covered a lot of their music, covered a lot of the sort of controversies and stuff around the band. But yeah.
Hit us up. Tell us if you've enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
Because we've thoroughly enjoyed.
Guns. You can say what you want about them, but they're an interesting subject to talk about as a band. Musically, non-musically, they're just a very, some bands we really have to research hard and sort of find things to talk about. With Guns N' Roses, there's almost too much to talk about.
There is too much to talk about.
We can't even jam it all into an episode. So that's that makes for a good episode, hopefully. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you guys enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I hope you guys have really enjoyed this one too, as much as we have. But we do have to bring it to an end now. And as we do that, we do need to say a huge, massive thank you to all of our Patreons. So thank you to Wendy, Duncan Scott, Joe Butler, Mike Ferris, Andy Taylor, Liam Hopwood, Tom West, Ethan Brown, Matthew Scoot, Henry Richardson, Chris Hambridge, Alexander Toon, and James. We love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for the support you give us. Every penny we get goes back into the podcast. And I did say earlier, didn't I? Duncan Scott, I have sent you a message on Patreon. I'm not sure if you've seen it, and I don't know how to get hold of you. So all I can do is just shout your name on here and hope you still listen. But yes, check your Patreon messages. And just one thing actually for the Patreons just before we go. I know the Patreon T-shirts for last year are running a little bit late. There was a couple of complications with it, but everything, we got it all clear now, so we can definitely start working on it. I'll probably start working on it this week. It might take a few weeks to get, to get the designs, and send the designs to a T-shirt printer, and then get the T-shirt printers to send them to me, and then I can send them out to you. So it still might be, a few weeks to get them to you, but we are definitely in the process of starting it now. So thank you for everything, all your support from last year. And again, we're starting it again this year. If you sign up to the Patreon on the £8 tier for 10 months or more, you will get your name on the back of our T-shirt, which is a Patreon exclusive T-shirt, which you cannot buy. It will just be you and the other fellow Patreons, and us, of course. Actually, I almost forgot us.
Definitely us. I love the Patreon shirts, man. Like we've got so much merch now. I've got like a little collection just forming. I'm always like, did download shirt, did download shirt, did download shirt, did download shirt. Oh shit, man, we got a lot of merch going on. Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll just say quickly, actually, all of our Broken Day stuff is still available on Broken Day clothing. So our hoodie's still available and the T-shirt as well. So go and check them out. Broken Day, they do amazing clothing, and the Dear Download stuff is still up there. So the designs are awesome. The T-shirt and the hoodie are just unbelievable. Like the T-shirt's one of my favorite T-shirts to wear. It's so sick. And the hoodie is incredible as well. Everyone that's bought the hoodie has just said, holy hell, this hoodie is incredible. So yeah, if you want those as well, they're still available. Broken Day, go and buy them.
Yes, I still wear my hoodie all the time. We've still got the link has been in all the episode descriptions for ages for the hoodie anyway. So yeah, just check the episode description. It's going to be very full this episode with a lot of stuff. Simon, do you want to tell us about your 2 YouTube channels, you greedy git?
I know it's bad enough one.
Greedy Gimboid.
I'm greedy boy. So yeah, Simon Says Cinema, obviously my new channel. Subscribe to that if you haven't. My What I Bought in February video will be out by now as well. So by the time this comes out, it should have come out on Friday. So all my buys, original buys and things I've never owned before, which is a really great little video. And then on my main channel, coming out this Friday will be bands that should...
How short video content saved my life.
It won't be that.
How 10-second videos changed my life.
How becoming a TikToker is way better and way less effort. No, it's going to be bands that should retire will be the subject.
Oh. Okay.
Which
I hope Iron Maiden is not in there.
Which will a lot of people won't like this video, but
yeah. Wow. Clickbait. Get them angry.
So that'll be out.
Shout at you in your comments.
This coming Friday, and my February buys video is already out. Go and check them both out. Goodbye.
Awesome. Quickly before I do mine, actually, as well, I might cut this out and put it back with the Patreon bit, but I should say the same as I said last episode. I haven't done it yet, but we are going to be taking the £10 tier of Patreon off, just to make it a bit easier for ourselves. But yeah, if you are, I assume. No, I don't know. I don't know whether it would make the £10 people automatically go down to the £8 one. So I'll put a post out on Patreon anyway, saying that I'm doing it now. If you're at £10 and you still want to subscribe, then put it down to the £8 if it doesn't do it automatically, just to give people a reminder. I hadn't done it just because I hadn't said that, just to make sure people check. But you should check. And yes. My plug. I finally have a plug, a good plug, and it's a proper plug, not just a some point in the future plug. So my Dungeons and Dragons actual play YouTube channel is out, and the first episode is out properly as well. Super proud of everything we've done, and me and the guys. So we've actually got Kieran from Dippy Donuters, a guy I work with, Luke, and Sean Schofield. All playing for me. I'm the DM. It's set in the world of cadenza. It's parodying music stuff. Whether it might not necessarily be based on music, but bards are different in this world. Bards are not combatants, which they are in normal D&D. They are just entertainers, and that is going to play a big part of the story.
Nice.
So it's very cool. So episode 1 is called Them Bones. And it's part of the Ionia chapter. It is now out on, I should say the YouTube channel name. It's Critical Pit. Critical Mosh Pit.
Rah. Cool name.
Yeah, it is a cool name.
Very cool name.
But yeah, if you like D&D, or if you just want to support me, go over and watch it. Comment, like, and subscribe. All those good things that you can do on YouTube, just to help us out, get started, and tell us what you love about it as well. Tell us what you've enjoyed about it, and that'd be good to know.
Hells yeah.
But yeah, again, everything we've talked about here, you can find in the episode description. Next episode is going to be all about Limp Bizkit, which is going to be another fun one as well. I don't think I have had as much fun doing the 3 headliners as I will this year. They've all been like some of the bands I was never into massively, and I'm like, I listened to it and it's like, yeah, it's okay. But I think, I don't know, I'm rambling now, I'm tired. Same as I was last episode towards the end, and I was just being a dick. So let's go. It's a goodbye from Simon.
Goodbye.
And a goodbye from me. Goodbye.